Hello and welcome to lesson 2 of week 2. In this lesson, we are going to look at the text properties in CSS. My name is Mildred. Now we have different properties that we use to style the appearance of elements on the page. The first one we're going to look at is the color of a text. We have this text on the page and we want to change the color of the text. In CSS, to change the text color, we use the color property. So I'll set this for the paragraph element and I'm going to set the color property like this. And now the value of the color can be the color name. We have something we call hexadecimal value of colors, and we have something we call the RGB value of colors, and we have the HSL value of the colors. And we are going to look at colors in details in another lesson. But for now, we'll just select any random color to set the color of the text. So let's say we use aquamarine like this. When we refresh our page, everything in paragraph becomes aquamarine. So we can see how we set the color. But we don't want this as a style because we can't read it clearly on the web page, right? So we're going to remove that, okay? So whenever you want to set your text color, you use the color property. The spelling has to be COLOR. We also set the alignment of the text. So horizontal alignment from left to right. We use the text align property like this to set how it's aligned. If we use justify, it will stretch to the end. If we use left to the left, to the right, and we'll just we'll align right. Okay, so we have different values it can take. You can take left, right, center, justify, start, and end. So we align justify. We can't see the difference because we don't have a large body of text here, but those are the values it can take. You can take justify, you can center the text and change it to center like that, and when you refresh, the text will be centered like that. All right, so we can say we want to center the heading, and so we'll change this for the H1 and we'll say text align center, and we'll leave the P to be justified like that. And so when we refresh our page, we see that we have changed that style. When we want to align just the last line of a text, then we use, instead of text align, we use text align last like this, and it takes the same values like the text align, but this just aligns the last line of the text. Okay, the default is auto, and whenever you don't specify, just auto. We have another property that we use to set the vertical alignment. So what we just set is the horizontal alignment. We want to set the vertical alignment, so we can say vertical align, and we want this to align middle. Let's say vertical align middle. It can take several values like baseline, sub, super, top, middle, bottom. You can have text top, you can have text bottom, and you can do length over percentage values. Let's try it on an image tag, and then you see it properly how we can set the image to be in line with the text. When we scroll down here, we see we have an image here, right? And you can see how the image is larger. So we can come to our place here, and then we put the image tag, and we want to set a style for this, and we'll set the vertical align here to be middle. Okay, so now this will now set the alignment to be at the middle, and then here we can also set the height and the width on the image, because now we've aligned it to middle. We can come to the image on the HTML and we can set, or we can just do it here and say we want the height or the width to be 25 pixels or something like that, and when we refresh this time, we have it in line with the text. Okay, the text is in line, middle aligned image like that. So you see how we can use CSS to change things around. All right, so we use this for the image vertical align to set the vertical alignment, and we align middle. We have something we call the text decoration property, and you see this most likely when you have links and on the page. On this HTML page, we don't have a link here, but let me put a link on this page and let's see how we do that. Let's say we want to write something and say, so we have this link on the page. When we go to the bottom, we see that by default the link is blue, it is underlined. We use the text decoration property to control the appearance of lines on a link like that. So when we say we want the anchor tag, we can actually have a style with the class selector or with the ID selector and add it using the ID or the class attributes, but I'm just doing that on the HTML element here. It's not a wise idea to put all your styles on HTML elements because it will apply throughout those elements. So you want to control where you apply your styles if that is the mission. So we want to put this text decoration property on the anchor tag, and there are several properties that the text decoration whole. So the text decoration written like this is just a shorthand for text decoration line, text decoration color, text decoration thickness, text decoration style. Okay, and so we want to either use text decoration and specify everything that we want, or we do them one after the other. So let's look at text decoration line, for instance. So we want the text decoration line to be, we'll choose the style of the line we want. Do we want it to be none? Do we want it to be line through? We want it to be overline, to be underline. So we'll put line through, it will be like it's cancelled, right? So we'll have text decoration line through like this. But what we want is, we don't want any line, so we'll put text decoration line, we'll put none like this, and then there will be no line for the link, so we remove the link. Then we can have text decoration color. So if we want to have text decoration color, we have to have the line, right, for us to have a color. So there is no line, but let's put the line here to be overline, underline. So we'll have both under and above, and then we set the color of this text decoration line to be, let's use the hexadecimal value, or let's just set it to, let's use red just for this example. So we have text decoration line, overline, underline, and we make it red. Now we can do the thickness of that line by using text decoration thickness, and you can specify this in any unit of measurement. I can decide I want it to be maybe 2 pixels, and when I refresh, we'll see it's thicker. You make it thicker, you make it 5 pixels, you will see it clearly. So when you design, you have to do something that makes sense. We're just trying to look at what these properties do. Then we also have the text decoration style that we can add to this. So we'll put text decoration style, and we'll decide what style we want. Do we want it like a wavy line? We'll have wavy. So there are some values it can take. We have wavy here. We can have other values like solid, which is the default that we already saw. We can have double, let's try double dotted or dotted. And so you can try these values, then you see what you want for your design. We have another property that we use to control the capitalization of a text. Like we have this, the first letter of each word is in capital. We use another property called, let's do for the H1, text transform property. Now the text transform property takes values like, if you say none, it's none. Capitalize the first letter of each word is in capital, which we already have, so you might not see any change here. But you can make everything uppercase. You can change this to uppercase, and then you can change it to lowercase using lowercase. So use this to control the capitalization. Alright, so we have this paragraph tag, and sometimes you want your paragraph to start with an indentation. We use a property called text indent. Let's use text indent here, and we set this indent to any unit of measurement. We'll look at the different units. So let's say 30 pixels. Alright, and so it's going to leave a space at the beginning of the paragraph like that. Then we have something we call letter spacing that we use to control the spaces between letters like this. So if we set the letter spacing to, let's say here, 2px, what we'll notice here now is that there'll be more spaces between the letters like that. We have another property we call word spacing that we use to control the space between words. You can use positive values to space out the words, or negative values to make them more clumped together. So we use word spacing. Let's try that, and we set this to, let's say, 5 pixels. When I refresh my page, you see it's more space between the words. But when I set it to maybe -2 pixels, then it should get tighter together. Alright, let me make it -5. Now because I have letter spacing there to space the letters, we can still see that there's a little space between the letter, but the words are already close together like that. Alright, so that's what we do with the word spacing. We can define how white space is handled by using the white space property like this, white space property, and there are several values. You can put normal, which will collapse the space. You can have no wrap like this, and then no wrapping of the text. We can have pre, which keeps the space and line breaks. So when we put pre like this, to keep the space and line breaks like you want it to be, right? And you can see that this pre, you have horizontal scroll like this. So when you put your white space like that property, you specify the values you want. So we'll leave it to be normal. All right, so when we define this like that, so you see how it broke into a new line and we don't have to scroll back and forth like that. We have the direction property. Now this direction property sets the direction within the block level elements. Now if the text is from left to right, the direction default is left to right. You can change it from right to left, so the direction is left to right, so let's change it to right to left like this. And when we refresh, you'll see our text will now change direction from right to left like that. Okay, if we want it to be left to right back, which is going to be the default, it goes back to left to right like that. But if we have a text like this that has two languages and we want to set the direction right to left, we want to have a bi-directional text, right, that will have English mixed with Arabic, and we use another property along with the direction. We call this property Unicode BD, and we just specify a value that tells us whether we want the text to be overridden to support multiple language. And so the value will be video override like this. Okay, and so here doesn't have multiple languages, but for this one, for the text, let's go to the HTML page. We have it inline to illustrate that the style, the direction is right to left, and we can now put Unicode BD, put BD override like that. All right, and when you have that way, so you can override. All right, so when you specify it along with that. All right, so we have another property, the text shadow property. When we want to add shadow to a text, let's say the H1 element, we want to add shadow, or let's use the H2 for now. Let's say we want to put shadow for the H2 element. We use the text shadow property like this, and we specify the horizontal offset. So let's use the measurement 2px. We specify the vertical offset. These are all space separated lists. Then the blur we want, let's say we want 5 pixels of blur, and then the color. Okay, so let's say we want let's use red color so you can see the shadow. When we come here, this is in H2, and we refresh, we'll see that all the H2 has a shadow there. So this is how we add shadow, text shadow. You can change this to any color you want to make it look different or nicer, and then you see the shadow, or make it gray. So these are the text properties. You want to research more, play around with them, see the different values that they take, and try them out to see how you can design your web page properly. In the next lesson, we're going to look at the different font properties that we have.